Hello, I'm Katie with the Jackson District Library, and today we're going to be showcasing some of our young adult spooky books for October. So our first book is Cirque du Freak, A Living Nightmare by Darren Shan. This is the first book in his Cirque du Freak series, and it strikes me as very R.L. Stine, but a little more grown up, a little more intense with the scares. And there's also a little detail that I'm not super fond of, but it does add to the spookiness. Each chapter has a spider at the start of it, which, if you like that, great. I do not. We've got some reviews saying fast-paced and compelling, full of satisfying macabre touches. And then we've got gross-out horror fans will devour it and clamor for the next in the series. And it also says, in the tradition of Stephen King's Salem Lot. So if Stephen King is something that you're interested in as well, it's probably be a good book for you. We've got another book by the same author. It's the first of his Zom-B series. So he's got a bunch of books in this series. Zom-B Underground, Zom-B City, Zom-B Bride. So if you're looking for a good classic kind of zombie apocalypse book that has a lot of material, this would probably be a very good one to start with. I'd be so happy if they were winding us up. I wouldn't care that I'd been made a fool of. I'd laugh, admit I fell for it, hail them as champion pranksters. But the blood's real, the terror, the screams, and the zombies. So yeah, that also strikes as a little bit on the intense side, but sounds like a good zombie thriller if you're looking for one. And then the last one by the author that I picked is The Saga of Larton Crepsley, Birth of a Killer. So this, I believe, the first blood-curdling novel in the highly anticipated prequel series that tells the life story of Cirque du Freak master vampire Mr. Crepsley. So this is a tie-in to the Cirque du Freak series, but it is a prequel, so it's the story before the story, basically. So it sounds like it's going to delve into one of the main characters in the Cirque du Freak series and give you some more information about them, so that might be worth checking out too. All right, we're going to move on to a different author that has a couple books. If you saw our other unboxing video for the young adult fiction, this name should sound a little familiar. It is Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. So this is the first book in her series. Some stories are so beautiful, so brutal, that they claw at your heart and refuse to let go. Welcome to the world of Wicked Saints, an epic, passionate novel that you won't soon forget. This one seems to be set kind of in a gothic time period. It seems very classic vampire story-ish. So this is the first book in that series. And then that will lead us into the second one that we talked about in our other video, which is Ruthless Gods. So this is the sequel to that one, and again, even just looking at like the spine of the book, it's very classic gothic vampire kind of feel. Nadia doesn't trust her magic anymore, Seraphin is fighting off a voice in his head that doesn't belong to him, and Malachi is at war with who and what he's become. So if you're looking for a kind of gothic, dark magic, vampire kind of series to get into, these two books might be worth a check out for you. All right, we're going to go into a couple books that are not by the same authors, but kind of had the spooky season feel that I was looking for. So we've got The Bone Houses, and on the back of this one it says, no warrior could stop the risen dead, but perhaps a gravedigger could. So that got my attention kind of right off the bat. A horror-drenched fairy tale. It almost seems Grimm's Brother-esque, that it's going to be similar to fairy tales that we're kind of used to, but it's going to have a darker twist to it. Also seems a little like zombie strain, Rise of the Undead. Next up, we have got Fractured Tide, which is another one that we talked about in our last unboxing video. This one is less vampires and monsters and ghouls kind of horror and more surviving an apocalyptic situation sort of horror. It's very much shipwreck and trying to survive, but it does seem like maybe it has a little bit of like a sea monster thing going on as well. Next up, we have a book called The Hanging Girl. This one got my attention because on the back of it, it's talking about tarot cards and how the main character reads people. So it says, reading people is a talent. I've always been a good observer. I watch their body language to see if it matches their words. The image they work so hard to show off tells me what they're trying to hide. Trust no one, deceive everyone. It seems a little more in the mystery strain of things, but it does kind of tie in, you know, tarot and magic and kind of the ideas of the occult. Seemed appropriate for spooky season to me. And the last one that we've got here is called Dogchild. I will admit that I just kind of went off the cover on this one because the colors that they chose and just kind of the imagery of it kind of struck me as like, ooh, this kind of looks spooky and like there's something going on here. It says, Jeet is a dog child, a human child who was raised by a pack of wild dogs. Recaptured and rehumanized, Jeet now lives with one of only 2 remaining human communities in the world, besieged by the much larger enemy clan. It's kind of got the almost werewolf sort of aspects to it, but is also post-apocalypse sort of situation, that something has happened that has more or less destroyed the world, so there are only 2 communities of humans left. As Jeet struggles to come to terms with his half-human, half-dog identity, he is at the center of a last stand struggle in which the fate of Jeet's community and possibly all of humanity hangs in the balance. This seems like maybe it ties in some spookier kind of horror elements, though it mostly seems to be thriller and post-apocalypse. Thanks for watching. If you saw anything that you liked, go to our website myjdl.com, place it on hold, and pick it up at your most convenient branch.